Hello, this is Donna with Vote Voice, and today I'm going to be talking about voter suppression. And voter suppression is used when any group, wants to influence an election. How this is done is done with discouragement of a section of Americans, any group of people, from voting, closing polling places, removing voters from voting rolls, in the hope that reducing voting or preventing voting altogether. The absolute purpose of any type of voter suppression is to intimidate you and silence your voice as a tax-paying American. Now, I want to also mention a form of voter suppression that many people may not know about, and it's called debt. Now, there are a few states where voters cannot vote if they have any court costs, fines, or other forms of debt to the state in which they live. And until all the debt is paid to the state, the person cannot vote in any election. So along with felony disenfranchisement, now a few states use debt as a form of voter suppression. So how can we protect our voting rights as individuals? Well, it is up to you, okay? We have to start looking after our individual voting rights. And how do you do this? You make sure you're registered to vote. You check your status. Is your information correct? You go to the Secretary of State to do this. In Michigan, and I'm sure it's Secretary of State everywhere else. You have to make sure that your voting information is up to date and current. Because, for an example, a federal judge in Georgia this week said that it was okay for the Georgia government to purge 100,000 voters from the rolls for being inactive. So it is crucial that you start to think about making voting your lifestyle. It's crucial. Wisconsin cut 234,000 voters, purged them from the rolls for inactivity. So, it used to be you can go in and you could vote and maybe not vote, but not anymore. If you do not want to be purged, you need to make sure you check your status and keep up with it and find out what is your state doing. Is it a requirement now to vote in every election in some states, or else you're going to lose the right? It's ridiculous, but this is voter suppression. So you need to be conscious of your voting rights, like you're conscious of your credit report. Now, also, what you can do to help protect your voting rights as an individual is you find out if you can request an absentee ballot in your state. Does your state have a system that allows everyone to vote absentee, or is there certain steps that you must take before you're allowed to vote absentee? Or you have to be a certain age or in a certain condition under certain circumstance. So it's important that you look. Now, it's most important that you know where your polling place is. Has it been moved, closed? You know what day you vote, as well as, like I said, the opening and closing times of your polling place. Your polling place is important. Yeah, some people are saying that their polling places have moved, and they're trying to keep track of that. So make sure you keep track of your polling place. Don't assume anymore that your polling place is in the same place, it's okay to just call up. You can call up your city clerk's office. You can contact the Secretary of State. It's okay for you to find out if your polling place has been moved. Now, we're going to talk about disenfranchisement. Now, if you are an ex-felon, you need to find out how you apply for reinstatement. Is there a certain policy in your state that automatically reinstates you? And also, too, in some states, if you are going to court or you have been charged, until you are convicted, you have the right to still vote. So we need to learn these things for ourselves, for our families. We need to know about voting in our states like we know about soap operas. Make a voting plan. The time. Like I said again, important. The time that when your polls open and when they close, so you'll know how to schedule your time that day. The date, again, the date that you're going to vote. 2000 and the midterm elections, there was misinformation going out about the day of the election. I even had somebody say that Republicans voted one day and the Democrats voted another. Let me say this. There's never been, as long as I've been living, a system in this country where one party voted one day as far as the major elections. I've just never heard of it. I don't know what that is, unless it's like some certain special primary, but you know the difference. Okay, the Democrats have a primary coming up. The Republicans do not, because they have someone in office. Okay, we're not talking about that. They were talking about an election that the Democrats voted one day and the Republicans voted the next. So, this misinformation, we have to know what the truth is for ourselves. Okay, you're going to make that voting plan. You're going to have the times, the place. Think about, how are you getting to your polling place? Can you walk? Are you going to walk? What's the weather going to be like? If you do not have a vehicle, are you going to go in a ride share? Get together with a neighbor and go. Take a friend. If you are driving, take people to the polls. Let's see. Yeah, do you need to put aside the money for the ride? Are you going to walk? How far will it be? How long will the line be? You need to keep an eye out on the news. Because you can see on CNN about the lines in some of the states, and people still didn't get to vote in some of these elections because the polls closed. There wasn't enough ballots. Oh, just all kind of mess. And we just need to keep track of what's going on in our state. See what's going on in your state. Make sure you know in your state when you're going to have elections. Also, too, like I said, take a friend, make arrangements. If you can, check with your employer, find out about, the hours. If you know there's going to be very, very long lines, what are you going to do? Find out what time the polls open. Are you going to be there first thing in the morning, or are you going to get off in time before they close? So, employers, help people. Help people get to the polls. Do everything you can to make sure that that's done. Okay? Now, also, what you need to know about voting is, will you need ID? Also, you need to find out, is there early voting in your state? There's a lot of states don't have them. There's a lot of voter suppression going on, and the early voting is gone. You need to check to make sure that you're not considered an inactive voter. You show up and they're saying you can't vote. That has happened in the past. And this also goes back to keeping your information current. Check. I can't say enough. Keep on track with your voting information. And the people working in the election offices are pretty nice people. Okay? They'll let you know what's going on. Oh, you got to know the deadlines for registration and absentee ballot requests. You have to know when you need to get that in. You have to know, if there is early voting, like I've said before. And we must become and stay, as well as pass on to our family, the importance of taking care of our individual voting rights. Now, I want to take the time, everybody. I thank you, okay? I want to take the time and thank each and every one of you for spending time with me today. Now, I know your time is precious, and I appreciate that very much. Now, my name is Donna Miller, and this is Vote Voiced, and we're at votevoice.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Vote Voice is a 501c3 nonprofit. So listen, I just want you to know that I created this nonprofit so that I can get the word out as much as I can, because it's an individual fight here. Each one of us needs to take responsibility. And we know this. We know this. And we need to help each other and keep each other informed. And we know this. So listen, I thank you. And I want you guys to have a wonderful day. And today is the 30th of January. And I just want to thank you guys so much for listening to the Vote Voice podcast. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.